Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a foundational plunge into Power BI.
That's right. Microsoft's big tool for business intelligence.
Yeah, and seeing data in like a whole new light. Think of it as this magic lens, maybe. It takes all your raw numbers.
All that messy stuff.
Exactly. And turns them into clear, interactive pictures. Stuff that actually helps you make smarter decisions.
And the great thing is, it's really designed so honest anyone can pick it up. It's not just for tech wizards.
Which is why it's popped up everywhere, right? All sorts of industry.
Absolutely. It's opened up data analysis to, well, a much wider audience. And for this deep dive, our goal is really simple.
Okay.
We want to give anyone who's totally new to Power BI a solid starting point, your friendly guide to the essentials.
And we're doing this by looking at common interview questions. That sounds like a smart angle.
Yeah, it's a really good way, actually. It gives you a structured look at what you really need to know, the fundamentals.
Okay, let's get right into it then. What is Power BI in, simple terms, and why is everyone talking about it?
Simply put, Power BI is a collection of tools that help you connect to your data.
Wherever it lives.
Wherever it lives, and then show it in ways that are easy to understand. Think interactive charts, dashboards. It's a business analytics service.
Putting those visual insights right up front.
Exactly, like taking a huge pile of jigsaw puzzle pieces and helping you actually put them together, see the whole picture.
So the main idea is taking data that often feels like, a jumbled mess, and turning it into something valuable, and crucially, something you can interact with, play around with.
Precisely. It's about turning that raw data into actionable intelligence, helping you make decisions based on facts, not just, gut feelings.
Right.
And what's really cool is how it's built. Both the tech experts and people just starting out can use it to connect, to tweak the data, and see it visually.
So it makes data less intimidating, something you can actually use.
That's the goal. It's not just about looking backwards either.
Ah, good point. I think our source mentioned spawning trends, maybe even figuring out what might happen next.
That's right. When you see your data laid out visually in charts and graphs, patterns just kind of jump out. Things you totally miss in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I can see that.
And because it plays so well with other Microsoft tools, it kind of becomes this central hub for tracking your key metrics, your KPIs.
In a user-friendly way.
Totally. And that interactive part is key. You're not just staring at static numbers. You can click, you can filter, you can really dig in yourself.
Okay, so Power BI is the whole package. What are the main, building blocks, the components that make it work?
Okay, think of it like a workshop. Different tools for different jobs, right?
Makes sense.
First up, you have Power BI Desktop. This is a free program. You install it right on your computer.
Okay.
And that's where you do most of the heavy lifting, creating reports, designing the visuals. You connect to your data there, you model it.
So that's where you roll up your sleeves. And once those reports are built, where do they go?
Then they get published up to the Power BI service that lives in the cloud.
The cloud.
And that service is where you view them, share them, maybe collaborate with colleagues on the reports and dashboards you built back in Desktop.
Like putting your finished work on display for others.
Exactly.
And what if I need to check a report when I'm out and about? Away from my desk.
That's easy. That's where the Power BI mobile apps come in. Lets you see everything on your phone or tablet. Stay in the loop.
Right. Mobile access. Got it. Now, you mentioned connecting and modeling data in Desktop, but the data's not always perfect, is it?
Rarely. That's where Power Query comes into play. Before you can visualize data, you often need to, clean it up, organize it.
Power Query. This is like the data preparation stage. The cleaning crew.
Exactly. It's the ETL tool extract, transform, load. Think of it as your data janitor.
Oh, I like that.
It's built right into Desktop and the service. It lets you pull data from all sorts of places, tidy it up, reshape it, get it ready for analysis.
So, data gets cleaned by Power Query, visualized in Desktop, shared via the service and mobile apps. What about Power Pivot? I remember seeing that name.
Power Pivot. It's basically the engine under the hood. It lets you analyze data and create relationships between different tables, different bits of information.
Relationships.
Yeah, how different data points connect. It used to be more separate, like an add-in for Excel, but all that power is essentially built right into Power BI Desktop.
Yeah.
It's where you build the structure, the model, that lets you ask more complex questions.
Okay. And our source mentioned some other names too. Power View, Power Map, Report Server. Are those things a beginner needs to worry about right away?
Probably not too much, no. Power View and Power Map were older tools for specific visuals, like maps. Most of that functionality is just part of Power BI Desktop now.
So integrated.
Yeah. Power BI report server is for companies that need to host reports on their own servers, not in the cloud. A bit more specialized.
Oh.
Power BI Embedded, that's for developers putting visuals into their custom apps. And gateways are important. They help you securely connect Power BI in the cloud back to data sources that are stored inside a company's private network.
Okay.
But yeah, the main trend is definitely towards unifying things in desktop and the service, making it simpler.
So it's a really capable platform. What are the biggest advantages? Why do people choose it? And, are there any downsides?
Lots of advantages. The user-friendly interface is a huge one. You really don't need to be a coding expert to start making reports.
That's a big plus.
Definitely. And its visualization capabilities are really strong. You can make some compelling dashboards that, really tell a story with data.
Okay.
Plus, the integrations with other Microsoft stuff, Excel, Azure, is seamless for many companies. It handles large data sets pretty efficiently, too.
And real-time updates?
Yeah, dashboards can update in real time, which is super useful. It connects to tons of data sources, and there's a big, helpful online community.
Sounds pretty good. Any limitations to be aware of? The flip side.
Well, nothing's perfect. There are some limits, like the file size for a Power BI desktop file is typically capped around 1 gigabyte. So truly massive data sets might need other approaches.
Okay, 1 GB limit.
And while real-time connections are good, there can be some limitations depending on the specific source and your license type. Also, historically, sharing could be a bit tricky, though that's much improved now. It's just about knowing its strengths.
Makes sense. Understanding both sides. Now, lots of people use Excel already. How is Power BI different? Why choose it over, say, sticking with Excel?
That's a super common question and a really important one. They're both Microsoft, both handle data, but they're built for different jobs.
Okay.
Think of Excel primarily as spreadsheet software. It's fantastic for manipulating data, doing calculations, some basic analysis. Often for individuals or maybe small teams, it's like your digital notebook for numbers.
Right, for quick calculations, maybe some simple charts.
Exactly. Power BI, though, that's a dedicated business intelligence platform. Its whole purpose is visualizing data, building complex data models, and sharing interactive reports across an organization.
So it's more about scale and collaboration.
Precisely. Power BI is way better at handling larger, more complex data sets. Excel can really start to lag or even crash with huge files.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
And Power BI just offers way more advanced visuals, a much wider range of interactive charts. Plus, the ability to build sophisticated data models, linking multiple tables together. Excel is more limited there.
And sharing insights across a team seems like a big differentiator, too.
Absolutely. Collaboration is core to Power BI. You've got workspaces, you've got apps, all designed for business sharing. Sharing an Excel file is fine, but Power BI offers a more managed, robust environment for organizational insights.
So Excel for personal tasks, Power BI for team or company-wide intelligence.
That's a great way to put it. Power BI is optimized for that whole BI workflow, scalable, collaborative insights. Excel just isn't primarily designed for that role.
Okay, that distinction is much clearer now. Let's shift gears a bit to data modeling. For someone new, what are the absolute must-know concepts? Keeping it simple.
Right, let's keep it simple. Number one concept, the star schema.
Star schema? Sounds intriguing.
It's a way to organize your data tables. Imagine a star. In the very center, you have your fact table.
Okay, the fact table. What's in there?
That holds your main business events or transactions. Things like sales figures, website clicks, numerical data usually. And critically, it has links, keys that connect out to other tables.
Ah, the points of the star.
Exactly. Those are your dimension tables.
Yeah.
They hold all the descriptive context, details about your customers, your products, the dates, the locations, the who, what, when, where.
So facts in the middle, context around the edges. Why is that good for Power BI?
It's simple. It's efficient for querying. Power BI likes the structure, makes the slicing and dicing data really fast and understandable.
Got it. Facts and dimensions in a star. What else is key?
Cardinality. It sounds technical, but it's just about how the data in related columns links up, how unique the values are.
Okay.
There are 4 main types: many-to-one, one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many.
Oh, okay. Maybe just the important ones for starting.
Good point. For beginners, the key thing to grasp is that relationships like one-to-many or many-to-one are generally the easiest and most efficient.
Like one customer can have many orders.
Perfect example.
Okay.
One customer, the one side with a unique customer ID, relates to potentially many sales transactions, the many side. Having unique values on at least one side of the join makes things much smoother.
And these connections, these relationships, they affect filtering, right? How does that work?
Yeah, that's relationship direction. You've got single direction and bidirectional.
Single versus bi. Got it.
Single direction is the most common. Filters flow one way, usually from the one-side table, like your customer's table, down to the many-side table, like your sales table.
So if I filter for one customer,
It automatically filters their sales. Simple. Bidirectional means filters can flow both ways.
upstream too.
Yeah. It can solve some tricky problems, but honestly, it can also create ambiguity, unexpected results, and slow things down. For clarity, single direction is usually the way to go, especially starting out.
Okay, stick with single direction. Our source also flagged potential issues with many-to-many relationships. What's the danger there, briefly?
The main challenge is often when the tables you're trying to link have different levels of detail, different granularity. Power BI might struggle to aggregate things correctly.
Meaning wrong numbers.
Yeah, you could get inaccurate totals or duplicated results if you're not careful. The best fix is usually to rethink your model. Maybe add a bridge table in between to break it down into simpler one-to-many links.
Gotcha. Avoid as possible or fix the model. Now, the guide also mentioned direct query, composite models, incremental refresh. Are these advanced things a newbie can park for later?
For the most part, yes. It's good just to have a high-level awareness. Direct query means Power BI doesn't import the data. It queries the source directly, in real time.
Useful for huge data or real-time needs.
Exactly. But it can impact report speed. Composite models let you mix direct query and the standard import mode in one model. More flexibility, but more complex.
Okay. And incremental refresh.
That's smart updating for big data sets. Instead of reloading everything, it just updates the new or changed data. Saves a ton of time, especially if you have lots of historical data that rarely changes.
Right. Good optimizations for later. Okay, next big topic, DAX. What on earth is DAX, and why does it sound so important?
DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions. It's the formula language built into Power BI. Think of it like Excel formulas, but way more powerful and designed for data models.
So it's how you do calculations.
Exactly. Custom calculations. It's how you go beyond just showing the raw data you imported. If you want to figure out, say, profit margin or year-over-year growth or a running total, you need DAX.
So it unlocks deeper insights from the data you already have.
Precisely. It's essential for creating measures, calculated columns, even calculated tables. Really the key to sophisticated analysis in Power BI.
Okay, measures and calculated columns. What's the absolute key difference a new student needs to get?
The fundamental difference is how and when they're calculated and where they live. A measure is dynamic.
Dynamic.
Meaning it's calculated on the fly, right when you need it in a visual. Its value depends on the context, whatever filters you've applied in your report. Think total sales. That number changes based on the year or product you select.
So it adapts constantly, and it's not stored permanently.
Correct. It's calculated at query time. A calculated column, on the other hand, is static.
Static.
You write a DAX formula, and it adds a whole new physical column to one of your tables. The calculation happens for each row when the data is loaded or refreshed, and the results are stored right there in the model.
Like combining first name and last name into a full name column.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
That calculation happens once per row and stays there. So the big takeaway. Measures are dynamic, context-aware, calculated on demand. Calculated columns are static, row by row, pre-calculated and stored.
Got it. Dynamic measures, static columns, that helps a lot. So, okay, you've used DAX, build amazing reports. How do you get them to people using the Power BI service and keep the data up to date?
Good question. First, keeping data fresh. If your data source is in the cloud, like Azure SQL or SharePoint Online, you can usually set up a scheduled refresh right in the Power BI service.
Set it, forget it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Daily, weekly, whatever you need.
Yeah.
If your data is on premises, like inside your company's network.
Behind a firewall.
Right. Then you need something called a Power BI gateway. It's a secure bridge that lets the Power BI service reach that internal data for scheduled refreshes.
Okay. Gateway for on-prem data. And you can always just hit refresh manually, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Manual refresh is always an option in both desktop and the service.
And sharing the reports themselves, how do you get them in front of people?
Several ways. You can share a direct link to a report, but the recipient needs the right permissions and usually a Power BI license.
Okay.
You can embed reports directly into other Microsoft apps people use every day, like Microsoft Teams or SharePoint pages. That's really handy.
Yeah, putting it where people already work.
Exactly. Then you have Power BI workspaces. These are like shared folders, collaborative areas where teams can build and refine reports together.